Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of your show, The Untold, where we're going to have our guests to know more about their career, their journey, and many, many more information about that. In today's episode, we're going to know more about powerlifting through our guest, and I'm very sure everyone is really eager to know more about it. So stay tuned with us to know more about it with our guest, Abdullah AlQattan. And now, dear viewers, really happy to welcome our guest. Really happy to welcome Abdullah AlQattan. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me, and inshallah, I'll be a light guest on this show.
So, talking more about, let's say, choosing your path and choosing your career, I'm very sure when it comes into choosing, let's say, powerlifting was something that you managed to do during your life, maybe having different kind of sports until you reach towards powerlifting. So maybe you'd like to tell us more about the beginning, like how did you reach towards this kind of sport?
I had a humble beginning in doing bodybuilding, as most of the Kuwaitis does. After you finish high school, you want to build up your body. I did that for many years, maybe like 9 or 10 years. Then I switched to free diving, and I did that for around 4 or 3 years. Then I kind of stopped doing sport because I'm more focused on business. I wanted to choose a business partner that helped me in my own gym, and that business partner was into powerlifting.
Okay.
I wanted to gain his trust and get his attention, so it was a coincidence that I got into powerlifting to get him to join me in my gym. One day, it's like I headed to his gym, and I told him I used to do bodybuilding, and I'm really strong. He smirked and he told me, inshallah. He tapped me on my shoulder like...
Oh, now, like, this is a signature, like, let me see. It's a sign.
Then, as a male, you want to prove yourself.
Right.
So I told him, I want to show you that I'm strong. And he did deadlift. We do 3 lifts, squat, bench, deadlift. So I chose the deadlift because I'm good at deadlifting. And I showed him that I really can lift heavy weight. And that's how I got him interested in being my partner.
Wow, such a quite interesting story. So, having that said, I'm very sure, especially when it comes into, let's say, talking about the concept of the sport itself, people would immediately think that when it comes into powerlifting, so it's only about weight and lifting with the bars and that's it. But they don't really see the whole concept of powerlifting. So maybe you'd like to tell us more about the sport. Like if a person wants to go and enter the field of powerlifting, what are they going to expect when it comes into practicing the sport?
Powerlifting is like any type of sport. It needs dedication and consistency to see the result. Powerlifting main goal is to be stronger. And the byproduct of being strong is getting in a better shape and a better health. And if you want to chase strength, you have to fix your diet, sleep better, have a good schedule. So it comes with a lot of good things. And to avoid getting injured, you need to study more about it, watch videos, and get more knowledge. In general, you should be knowledgeable to become a good powerlifter.
Yes, so educating yourself about the sport is something very important. And yet again, a person must be, let's say, more responsible towards themselves.
Yes, because you're lifting very heavy weights.
Yes, and you have to always know that there is always a risk if you don't, let's say, consider the precautions when it comes into that. Because I'm very sure when it comes into such a sport, one of the most important thing is to always be healthy and always keep in mind that if I, let's say, put it more into me, like for instance, I want to carry certain weight, but consistency on that weight could be something positive, but doing that in a very fast pace could lead to a very big and severe injury, which may lead you to stop.
Yeah.
Right?
When I tell someone that I do powerlifting, he thinks that I would do heavy weights on every session. It's not like that. We have something that's called one max rep. Is it's the heaviest weight that you can pick up for one rep. We do that once a year. So you work out for 11 months in a certain pattern to do one rep in 1 month. So it's not all about going heavy every time. It's about building your strength slowly and taking your steps, like baby steps toward developing. You start with 10 kg, then you go 15, 20, 25. You take your time. You don't rush into getting stronger.
Yes. So we always say that we do change, especially as a person when it comes into our life. If we, let's say, choose a certain sport. So if we're talking more about you, and you especially, let's say, Abdullah, being before this sport and after this sport, like how do you see yourself developed so far?
Powerlifting gave me a purpose. Before powerlifting, the goal was just to get fit. I didn't have a purpose. Powerlifting opened many doors for me. One of them is being representing Kuwait in competing. The other door is being a ref.
Right.
And giving me the opportunity to participate in world events and bring the name of Kuwait in those events.
Right.
So it gives me pride and it makes me very happy. It gives me purpose to chase.
Right. And having a great achievements is something very beautiful and very important, because this is what going to let you, let's say, pursue more and continue more and all of the progress that you can actually accomplish and achieve. And I'm very sure this is something very, let's say, more of proud of when it comes into you achieving and presenting yourself in different kind of, let's say, field of the sport itself and, of course, categories of it. So having that said, dealing with a gym and working, of course, is something very challenging and hectic, because you're not only practicing your sport, but you have a business and you have something that you actually accomplish to do. Responsibilities. Many different members that enters, and when it comes into members, they're always picky. Like, I want a certain, let's say, sport, I want a certain coach, and so on. So tell us about that and balancing yourself in that way.
You need to really be good in managing yourself and scheduling your day, so you can do all of that, because I still do have my normal day job.
Right.
And I still want to ref and I still want to work out and have my family. And so I need to really manage your time to do all of that. So this is really challenging to me, but I'm keeping it day by day. I'm fixing it day by day and still progressing.
Yes. So progress is something very important, and having the support is also great. So tell us more about who supports you and give you the power and encourage you to continue more and to present yourself more in the field.
The community of powerlifting, this is what I love. Everyone encourage each other, even different gyms that does powerlifting. They all of them know each other, all of them cheer for each other, and whenever we compete outside the country, they go together and they send messages and they support by social media. So it's the community that keep me going. The community, the appreciation from them make me keep going.
Yes, and especially when we're talking more about sport community, people won't understand unless you are part of
it.
The community itself. So it's a very beautiful community where you meet up almost every day, even if it's only for 1-2 hours. But yet again, you socialize, you
like
sit
brothers.
Exactly.
Brothers in iron.
And once they say, I really love that, brothers in iron.
Yeah.
So even when it comes into, let's say, having a competition, they always like to cheer if they're not, let's say, a part of it.
True.
But let's say cheering for the person who's actually competing and presenting themselves in competitions. So it's a very beautiful community, if we can say that. So working as a referee is something also challenging. So if I'm not mistaken, you're in the IPF, which is the International Powerlifting Federation. Yes. So tell us about this kind of responsibility now that you actually face during, let's say, your journey.
It's very big responsibility, because I'm the first Kuwaiti who step on the world platform. So I have to represent my country in a really good manners. You face a lot of countries, and there is this language barrier, because some of them, they don't speak English or Arabic. So you have to communicate with them by sign language and try to be representable and not disrespectful to them. That's one of the biggest challenge toward that. I have to keep up with the updates. There's always yearly updates on the rules, so you need to keep updated. I need to read the rule book every year and make sure that I don't miss any new rule or adjusted rule.
So it's very challenging, to be honest. And
yeah.
people are now, especially who are listening and watching us, we can say that it's very. People would say that you're a referee, therefore you only know a few, let's say, specific important rules, and that's it.
No.
But now we can hear from you that
There's
you
a
have
lot
to
of cases.
always, yeah,
A lot of different cases.
that faces you during.
Yes, because there's some issues that you'll face on the platform that there's no rules yet toward that issue.
Yeah.
So you need to act on that moment.
So you have to do your homework when it comes into that.
You have to do.
So they always say if you choose a certain sport, it reflects your life, your routine, and everything alongside to it. So if we can say what or how did powerlifting affected your life in a very positive aspect and way?
If you go towards the lifestyle goal, it's different from the competing goal. As a lifestyle goal, it's similar to any sport or any fitness routine that you do, that you need to wake up early, eat your food, work out 3 to 4 times a week within 45 minutes or 1 hour. But if you're competing, it takes more than 45 minutes, sometimes up to 3 hours. And you do that 4 to 5 times a week. That means you need to be a little bit antisocial toward the competition.
Yes.
You need to focus on developing yourself, get the prize, then can go back to normal life.
Yes, and especially if we're talking about Kuwait and our, let's say, social society. We
very
are,
social.
yes, we're really social. Everyone is really connected to each other. If you don't go to a Diwaniya gathering, that means that's it.
And it's hard to stick to your diet
Yes,
with all of these gatherings.
Yes, and especially with all of the sweets and everything regarding that. So I'm very sure it's very important to always keep in mind that we have to have these great healthy relationship with our family and friends, whether it's by, let's say, having a normal connection with them, or by, let's say, telling them, of course, and confronting and them understanding that you have responsibilities and you have, of course, different kind of responsibilities and routines that you're dealing with, whether it's in a competition that you're planning for, whether it's in your working hours that you actually manage to do. And I'm very sure it's very triggering for a lot. So when it comes into being part of your friends and the gatherings that you sit with, did you encourage your friends to be part of powerlifting community?
I do. On a weekly basis, I always encourage them to join powerlifting and compete also in powerlifting, because for the viewers, we still need more powerlifter in Kuwait. We have a lot, maybe 500, around 500 or so. We started, by the way, on 2018, around maybe
Which is really,
20 member. Now we have more than 500, which is big number, but still towards the world like population, that's nothing.
That's nothing, yeah.
So the more powerlifter we get, the more better it's gonna be. The standard will go higher and higher.
Yes, indeed. And hopefully we will see that flourish and becomes more of, let's say, spreaded widely in Kuwait, that we could see actually youth that are entering in the field itself.
It's a bit trendy.
Yes, so it's the most important thing is once it's trendy, it's gonna go viral. Everyone is going to enter. So we're going to continue, of course, with you in this episode. But dear viewers, we're going to head to a break and then we'll be back. And we are back, dear viewers, with our guest. So, Abdullah, when we're talking more about the community and talking more about youth awareness that we actually talked before the break, how do you see today's awareness when it comes into powerlifting and encouraging everyone to enter the field? You mentioned that from 2018 up to now, we have that kind of growth. But do you feel that people are still aware about the sport?
They're still aware, but we need to push it more in social media, because that's the platform where people get their news now. Organizing more competition really help in spreading this sport And in Kuwait, we were doing really good job organizing competitions. We do it once to twice a year, and it's coming more popular and trendy. But I'd see that it will grow more and more.
So I think I do believe and I agree with you that having more competitions do actually spread awareness, especially that we're really competitive. We are competitors and we like to compete with each other, and having that in a very positive way could raise the awareness in a way, and hopefully we do see this sport starts to flourish. I mean, we do see it even from the side of women. Women are actually entering the sport. We can see that kind of also awareness being spread on both gender themselves.
The last competition, around 40% of the participants were females. 40%.
Wow, which is something really great.
Yeah, almost half. It's really big.
Well, that's really amazing, and hopefully we will see more great, let's say, spread for the sport, because I mean, it's a very beautiful sport. It's more of a sport that people would, let's say, in a way, if we're talking more about, let's say, lifting, they immediately will say that you're going to grow with muscles, you're going to look really huge, and within nowadays we see that it's really, let's say, different. That doesn't really mean that people, if you practice this sport, then you are going to, let's say, look very masculine in a way. So this shows and proves that people do have misconception for the sport itself. Like, do you agree on that?
Yeah, still people think that if you lift as a female, you would grow big muscles as males.
Right.
The female body doesn't produce enough testosterone to build that much muscle.
Right.
And even if you do have higher testosterone than the normal level,
Right.
it need years of lifting heavy and consistent to be a bit bigger or to look a bit buff. So
Yes.
don't worry, work out. It's really good for you, and it's really healthy, and it will keep you strong for the long run.
Yes, and that's the most important thing, is that we're actually
Longevity.
yes, and we're actually doing this sport, or let's say we're practicing this sport, is to be stronger, healthier for the future. We're building muscles not for
Muscles.
today, but it's for the future.
tomorrow.
Yes, and for tomorrow. So people always mix between powerlifting with bodybuilding, with CrossFit, and many different kind of, let's say, weightlifting workout, or let's say sport. So when it comes into that, like, is it really different from all of these sport that we mentioned?
And competing or training?
Both, let's say, talking about competing and training.
In competing, bodybuilding is a shape or physique aspect sport. Who have the better shape wins. Powerlifting, who lift heavier wins. In CrossFit, who lift heavy and have high endurance. And every competition in CrossFit have different workouts. It's not the same.
Right.
Powerlifting have the same exact 3 lifts since I don't know them until this day. The same 3 lifts: squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yes.
Bodybuilding is subjective on what's trendy in that year. Is it the small waist? Is it the bigger thigh? Is it the bigger chest? Is it the
So
bigger,
it depends on how
on the
trendy it
shape?
is.
On the shape.
Yes.
In terms of training, bodybuilding they work out toward shape, and they focus more on doing high reps, heavy weights to gain more mass. CrossFitters, they mix out almost everything because it's
Yes.
it's a CrossFit
Yes. Exercising.
exercise. Yeah. So they do a lot of rowing, skiing, running, lifting, a lot of mix towards their goal. Powerlifters, they focus mainly on getting stronger. How much I can carry to gain strength to carry the next step, and how much do I need to carry to get to the next step. So it's only strength based. But as I said, the byproduct will be a better shape and a better health. So
Yes.
depends on what you like.
Yes.
All of them are good. Depends on what you like and what do you enjoy. Choose the sport that you enjoy.
Yes.
So whatever you enjoy, that's the key. Enjoyment will make you consistent in what you do.
Yes, indeed. Choosing something that you really love and feel really close to is something very important for you to continue. I mean, I've seen so many competitions when it comes into powerlifting, and I'm always frightened that something could happen to the, let's say, athlete himself, because it could lead to many different injuries, God forbid, if you're doing it in let's say, incorrect way. And well, lots of things that gets viral is these injuries and makes you really frightened to watch and to practice. So when it comes into injuries, I'm very sure that all sports are equal the same when it comes into the injuries. But when it comes into powerlifting, what is the most dominant injury that a person should keep in their mind that I should, let's say, consider not to have this injury?
Um, you need to have an ego check. So if you feel that you can't lift the weight, you shouldn't fight it. You shouldn't fight the weight.
Yes.
In the three lifts, I'd say bench is the safest one because there is a safety arm. If the weight fall down, it will fall on the safety arm. Squat, you might drop the weight. If you drop the weight, there is the spotters around you. You might hurt the spotters. You'll not get injured, but you will hurt the spotters.
Yes.
And deadlifts, if you fight the weight, you might hurt your back. That's what when you
want
see
to
people
consider.
People are afraid of carrying heavy weights from the floor because they're afraid to hurt their back. So deadlift is carrying the heaviest weight out of the floor.
Yes.
But if you do it in a good technique, it's hard to get injured.
Yes.
It's
That
very
most
hard.
importantly is to always consider and to know your high, let's say, the right technique for
Limitations.
you.
You need
Yes,
to know
and-
your limitations.
Yes, this is the most important thing. Talking about limits, I remember back in the days in the gym, they asked for a specific, let's say, a woman to come because they want to do a photo, let's say, session for the gym itself. So one of the things they told me is to pull a bar and then just lift it. So there wasn't, let's say, a very big weight. It was, let's say, a very less weight. And I was really terrified because I really, I really am scared of carrying something that could be heavy. So the bar itself, I never thought that it has a little weight. So once I carried it, I was like, you know what? This is not a sport for me. I'm really scared. I should try something else. But yet again, a person should know their limit and know what to expect for each and different sport that they actually choose. When it comes into that, many obstacles, many difficulties, I'm very sure that faced you during your career, especially when it comes into choosing the sport and also choosing more of, let's say, your own business and trying to create it in a way. So if you would like to tell us more about these specific challenges that faced you during your career, talking more about these particular moments that you never forget.
In the reffing career, moments that I haven't forget. I don't really have any
Like things that comes into your mind, right?
comes into my mind, but I'd say the traveling in general, because you traveling in every country, you face small scenarios here and there, but nothing major.
Like, do you remember the first time you actually stood and you were, let's say, in your own position, like the first position?
I was lucky that the first competition I left in, it was in Dubai. So it's a
Yes.
familiar country.
It's more of a, let's say, home country.
Home country. So it was. I was lucky that that was my first time. It was very smooth. Maybe because I,
mean,
was
doing
over
it
prepared.
in-
I was
yeah.
over prepared
Yes.
for it.
And also feeling that it's your second home, let's say, in a way that encouraged you more, like, this is something that I can manage and do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I
exactly.
think
That's how I
believing in
felt.
yourself is something important. Yes. So have to always believe in yourself, whether it's in your position, whether it's in your, let's say, way of presenting yourself and also practicing the sport. I mean, the key is always to be in that set of I believe and I can achieve. And always keep in your mind that there is a lot of people who look up for, let's say, look up for you and feel like you're being more of an idol, especially if we're talking about today's youth. Today's youth are really easily triggered. We're now facing the, let's say, electronic or AI generation, where they could, let's say, sit behind the screen and watch everything being modified through AI. So encouraging them to go to a gym, to choose a career in sport, and to be, let's say, active is something very important. So when we're talking more about that, a kind of advice you would like to give these kind of audience, the ones that are in their youth, trying to find their own, let's say, identity, their own sport, their own passion. If today you have that kind of chance to present for them, what would you say?
I'd say get into sport. That's number one. You need to get into sport. Number two, you need to be consistent with what you do. Number three, don't be afraid of trying different sport. Don't limit yourself in one sport. So you can try karate, taekwondo, kyokushin, baseball, basketball,
Yes.
CrossFit. Try everything. And taking that journey, you will find your passion. You'll find your passion. And if you get consistent with one of them, doors will open and you will get higher and you will see opportunities either to become a ref in that sport, a coach, an athlete to represent the country. Who knows?
And one of the most important thing that this is very beautiful what you said is that you never know what you're going to be in this sport, whether it's an athlete, a referee, let's say any very, let's say, important, maybe even a coach, because you are going to be, let's say, training the next maybe athlete that's going to represent the country, which is something very beautiful as a goal to have it in your mind and to have it set. And I believe this is the most important thing. Again, choose something you love and believe in yourself.
If you asked me 5 years ago, would you be a ref? I will tell you no. It's a really coincidence that I become a ref. It wasn't part of my goal, but because I stayed consistent with doing sport for around 15 years, it came on my way. The opportunity and the chance came on my way.
Like something you didn't plan for, but it actually came
to me.
Yeah, which is something very great because you believed in yourself and you did something that you love. In the end, you reached towards something that you didn't expect, but you're achieving it very well. Well, thank you very much for being our guest today. It was really honor having you, and especially, I'm very sure even our audience did enjoy watching us today.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this podcast.
So with that, dear viewers, we're going to continue to the wrap up. Stay tuned with us. As we reach towards the end of today's episode, always remember to believe in yourself and always choose something that you love in order for you to be passionate about and to reach to many great goals. And with that, we let you be.